Europe is paying the price for its naivety about Russia, says Finnish PM.
Here's a summary of the article.
We have to admit that we have been too naive about Russia, and that today we are paying the price, a high price, that of our dependence on Russian energy, Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin told the European Parliament on Tuesday. We have built our assumptions about Russia's activities on wrong ideas, she said. We should have listened more closely to our friends from the Baltic states and Poland who lived under Soviet rule, said the 36-year-old Social Democratic leader, whose country shares more than 1,300 km of border with Russia. Ms. Marin was the guest on Tuesday of This is Europe, a series of debates in which leaders of EU member states expose their vision of the Union at a plenary session of the European Parliament in Strasbourg. In terms of energy in particular, Europe should have changed its supply model much earlier for environmental reasons, which would have prevented it from finding itself in the present situation vis-a-vis Russia, she noted. Russia's actions have unified the West as never before, she said, while Russia is lonelier than ever. In the end, she predicted, Russia will have become impoverished, while Sweden and Finland will have become members of NATO.
This post received a score of 17,000, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Indeed. We in the West ought to have taken effective action to cut ourselves off from dependence on Russia, particularly after Crimea. We chose to basically attempt business as usual with them, and Europe will pay the price for that.
Actually, Ukraine is paying a lot of the price.
Well, Ukraine is still Europe.
Technically, a big part of Russia is also Europe.
At this point, I think Russia just wants to be its own continent. Everyone should know about this.
Get me a saw and I'll cut them off like Bugs Bunny did to Florida.
Can you also do Florida, please?
After what happened in 2014, it's not naivety, it's everything but that. It's money, and some in Russia had a lot of money and good deals over moral values.
Mitt Romney said that Russia was the greatest threat to global security when he was running for president.
I'm no Republican, farthest from it in fact, but fair is fair, and he wasn't wrong. Credit where it's due, despite looking as pathetic as he did simping for Cheeto at that dinner table.
I mean, it was a coin flip. It was either Russia or China.
The same can be said about the world's, and maybe the US in particular, reliance on Chinese manufacturing.
In 10 years, they will say the same thing about China.
Remind me in 10 years.
It wasn't naivety, it was greed, willful ignorance.
Bok no los dos,
Poor coup?
Merkel defends Russia legacy, says nothing to apologize for.
Merkel did many things right, but making Germany so friendly and dependent on Russia is not one of them.
Plot twist. Germany imported as early as 1991 50% of its gas from Russia. It all started with the oil crisis and the desire to get less dependent from the Middle East.
Why not get less dependent from fossil fuels?
The world should have cut Russian dependence after Georgia. Europe is particularly paying for appeasement and Russian dependence right now. It should have been apparent after Georgia that Russia wasn't ready to be a functioning member of the global community.
Where have I seen this movie before? European megalomaniac invades neighboring territory, claims they have no interest in going further, rest of Europe adopts policies of appeasement, megalomaniac goes further anyway, all of Europe suffers. Nope, I just can't place it.
Sure, but we're trying to avoid another world war, and they were trying to avoid another world W?
The whole world has that same naivete with Saudi Arabia right now TBF.
I'd say China is the next biggest problem. Need to eliminate dependence on them also.
Absolutely. This frustrates me a lot as a Korean. Our government constantly hedges on US-China relations and I'm frankly scared of the consequences.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.